This podcast is brought to you by the Anime Addicts community. If you want to help out the podcast, get in on all of the shenanigans, you can support us over at AAApodcast.com/join or Patreon. It is a fan-supported podcast with a fan-driven community and content, and we want your support. AAApodcast.com/join or Patreon. And now let's start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAApodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome into the podcast, episode 680 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, where our mission is to make your anime addiction worse. I'm your host, Mitsugi, and I am so glad you're here with me today. And I have a fantastic co-host. His name is Mason. How's it going?
It's going well, thank you. Oh, that's so nice. We're so nice to each other. We're best now. How's it going? I'm doing well. It's raining outside, so good to be inside right now because it'll cool everything off, so I'm not just sweating here talking to you guys about anime, which is never a good look. Never good. No one wants that.
Nobody wants that, Mason.
No.
Well, I'm sitting here drinking a Watermelon Monster, Ultra Watermelon. Very creative name. It is watermelon-y. It's very nice. So in this, it's supposed to be summer now, pretty much, but it's still cold as shit in Denver, so we're never not going to have summer this year. Guys, if you want to help out the podcast, there's so many different ways you can do it. You can leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen. It really is really important, and I would really love to see us get to 1,000 reviews on iTunes before I die, so please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review or wherever you listen. And twitch.tv/AAA podcast. We're going to have more of a visual element of the show today, and we'll get to that in a second, but if you want to watch us on Twitch, you can watch us live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We got Chitin driving the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagrams, the Snap Faces, the what have you. We have it all. So
the OnlyFans? Are we on OnlyFans yet?
Not yet, but
oh, that's a shame. It's really.
I got a feeling, Mason, we're both pretty cheeked up, and we could probably make some serious cashola. Pancake just looked at me across the room. I think we can make some serious cashola on OnlyFans. So
untapped market, if you will.
Yeah. Untapped market indeed. Guys, if you want to join the Discord, AAAdiscord.com. Do me a favor, pull out your phone, go to Google or Chrome or whatever. Just type AAAdiscord.com into your browser. It's going to take you directly to the Discord. I really recommend it. There's people on there betting about the outcome of the waifu war, which we're going to get to in a second. And, just a lot of fun. A couple more shillings here. If you want to check out our merch store, AAAshop.info. Pretty good stuff there. So I saw we did sell like a couple hoodies this week, which was neat. Eventually, I want to see like somebody wearing one of our merchandises in public.
In the wild?
That would be crazy.
Do you think any of our listeners go outside though?
Well,
maybe. You prove it to us by buying our merchandise and then going outside and having the audacity for us to see you.
I mean, I don't really know, but it'd be pretty dope if I did see somebody like at a ramen shop wearing our shirt. Guys, the waifu war has begun. It started yesterday at 5 p.m. We have hundreds of votes already cast, and not even a day. But if you go to waifuwar.net, for the duration of the contest, we'll take you to our polling page, where you'll be able to access the bracket and also vote for your favorite waifu. So right now, you're able to vote for the first half of round 1. So there's 32 waifu on the chopping block right now. And we have some very frighteningly close matches in the first round. And by that I mean more than 200 votes have been cast in this just the one day, and it's within like a single vote on some of these. Revi and Chizuru Ichinose from Rent a Girlfriend are basically tied, which is pretty crazy. Misato from Evangelion is basically tied with Nino Nakano from Quintessential Quintuplets, which just shows you that like Ava is totally irrelevant now. Like no one gives a shit. Misato would have been like a pretty tough out like maybe 10 years ago, but now it's like no one gives a shit. S Death from Akame ga Kill is basically tied with Miriko from My Hero Academia, which is pretty surprising. And then after it went up on Twitter, this one narrowed quite a lot. Nami and Komi from Komi Can't Communicate and Nami from One Piece are basically tied. So the rest of them are a little more open, but hey, if you want to get into this poll and start voting for the Waifu War, waifuwar.net. Waifuwar.net. What else do you have to lose? You should get in there. Vote for your favorite waifu. We got a lot of great ones in the contest, so it's gonna be a lot of fun for the next like 6 weeks or so. All right, guys. Now that very long-winded opening is out of the way, what are we doing today on the podcast? Well, Mason and I have prepared for you a ranking of studios. We are going to be ranking with Tier List Maker, the website. We're going to be ranking 30 anime studios into 5 categories, D through S rank. So we'll see how these studios pan out. I will say Studio Ghibli is not on the list, so it just wasn't fair, I think, honestly.
There's a couple movie studios like Comics Wave Film, the guy who Shinkai's studio. Some have been omitted. It's actually 30 studios with an asterisk, but we'll get to that.
Okay. We're going to have an unexplored pictures after the news break, and then we're going to be doing a review of Handyman Saitou in Another World, which is kind of an interesting twist on the isekai genre, I thought. So, all right, let's get to the big news.
It's time for big news of the week.
There's not a whole lot here to talk about. Basically, the only thing that really interested me was they say it's the first half, but in reality, we're not halfway through the year yet. So someone couldn't do math, which is, what is half of 12? So, yes, so this My Anime List compiled the manga sales and light novel sales for what they say is the first half of 2023, but really it's not yet because it's June. People, the first half of 2023 is like probably like July 2nd. So you like just pump the brakes. The number one manga, do you know what it is, Mason? I was pretty surprised, and it's not really close at all.
I have not looked it up at all this year, so
you don't know then?
I do not know.
There's actually two of these are shocking. Blue Lock is the number one manga of the year so far with 8 million copies sold, which I did not see coming at all.
Nice.
A distant second, Chainsaw Man, with 4.5 million copies sold. So just, we'll say 60% of Blue Lock. The biggest shock, I think, Slam Dunk in third, probably because of the movie.
Yeah, the movie is crushing records as well. So good for
I gotta
that.
watch this fucking movie.
This is also manga sales by series, so there's probably a lot more like volumes of Slam Dunk in the catalog
that's for
people to choose from. But I mean, props to Slam Dunk. It's the guy who writes it is unbelievably talented. So good for that. 31
volumes in Slam Dunk. 4.2 million copies. That's so nuts, though. I mean, geez. You would think everybody had already like read Slam Dunk at this point. The original release was 1990. It's older than my wife by a lot. Jujutsu Kaisen came in fourth with 3.8 million, and then One Piece with 3.5 million. So pretty wild, honestly. Didn't expect two of those, but man, it's entirely shonen, of course. But whatever. Happy to see. I gotta watch this Slam Dunk movie. Have you seen this movie yet?
I have not. It's not come out in the West yet. I know.
What are you doing to me?
I think it's coming soon. Soon, please. I hope so. I want to see the B-Boy boys.
Oh, what if it came to theaters? Would that be amazing?
It might. I don't know. probably be pretty rad. You could probably look it up to see. I mean, it might be G Kids, so they
Yeah.
usually put stuff in
Yep.
theaters.
It's called The First Slam Dunk. It's got a 8.6 on my anime list right now.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I have to imagine it'll come out in theaters. Maybe
oh,
not on
I
a
am.
full
Oh man,
like extended release like a normal movie, but at least for a little while.
It's gonna be a. Man, I'm definitely gonna have to see it, and I'll have to force Pancake to watch a bunch of the anime or whatever.
I'm sure you could get by without much context. Well, I'll
All
let
right.
you know. I'll let you know if I watch it.
All right. I think that's about it for the big news. Is that right?
Yeah, there wasn't a ton. There was someone in Discord that was like, "Oh, there's this massive piece of news that I can't wait for them to talk about on the podcast, but I'm not going to say what it is. So if they don't cover it, it'll be disapproving." And I looked and I didn't see anything that interested me. So that's no big news.
Maybe it's in the news break, but
Yeah,
probably not.
maybe.
All right, guys. So, well, why don't you take it, Mason?
Yeah, so this has been floated around in our Discord, but our main topic is ranking of studios, and it was officially submitted on our website at AAApodcast.com. You go to mailbags and submit ideas for topics, and this one was done by Sajinther, who wrote that the host will try to separate the top 25 studios, we're going to do 30, into a tier list from S to F, and the criteria can be at your discretion. So, Mitsuki has made a glorious tier maker.
Oh yeah.
He did S through D, so no F tier. You know, if you're making content, that's good. So that means we have 5 tiers.
You don't want
30
anybody to
studios.
cry.
Exactly. You know, no Fs in the chat
Yeah.
or on the chart. So since we have 30 studios and 5 tiers, I thought it would also be fun to mandate that each row from S to D has to have 6 studios in it. So only 6 can be S tier, only 6 can be A tier, and it works all the way down until we have a nice even tier list. So no nominal chart or something like that. So we're just gonna run through these in alphabetical order. I tried to pick studios that were, big names, somewhat relevant, have some acclaim, nothing that's only has like 3 works. There's a couple studios that I omitted that really hurts my gut. I mean, I didn't put Artland on here, which is easily one of my favorites, but they haven't done a ton. But what they have done is priceless. I took out Science Saru and some other stuff, so
That hurt you?
a little bit. But I think what's here is just more, going to cover the bases. But if there's anything we're missing, please, we look forward to hearing your thoughts on where they should rank. So, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I see you made an early entry.
I think we go alphabetically.
Okay, well, with that, let us start then with A1 Pictures. This is probably a studio that, without question, everyone has seen some work from. I don't know. Do we want to just start off with kind of how we're ranking these?
I'm just gonna look at the anime they've done and see if anything jumps out at me. So I'm gonna be typing.
Okay.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of typing into Wikipedia.
Gotcha. Well, for me, when I think of A1 Pictures, I think of they've just taken a lot of shows and do them very plainly. They don't add a lot of flair or style to them, and sometimes that makes them kind of box standard. But it also just get so much good stuff. They've done Space Brothers, Silver Spoon, Suritama, just a lot of shows that might not wow you with their art style and a production value, but are just really good, solid shows at their core. And I don't hate A1 Pictures. They just don't wow me with a sense of identity, which is what you'll see when I talk about my S tier studios. I like studios where you can instantly tell it's them. So for me, personally, A1 Pictures, C tier. They just do a very fine job, but they don't excel.
They don't blow your socks off. I think I'm gonna try to get another screen over here on Twitch, because I'm gonna be scrolling through a lot of these anime. But just looking at their top 5, Kaguya-sama, 86, Your Lie in April, and Space Brothers. I mean, it's a pretty good list. I mean, gosh, I feel like they've done so much. I mean, they have an awful lot of opportunity to lay a stinker when you've got 500 anime on your list here. Nonetheless, I'm gonna say we're only gonna do 5 per category, so I don't want to break the bank immediately. Um,
And we
I'm
can
gonna
always
say
move stuff around as
yeah.
we
I
hit
was
stuff.
I was thinking B tier. I don't know. What do you think?
I think B tier is a very reasonable starting point as well. I think I tend to be a little bit harsher on them. Um,
You think are you a big meanie?
I think I sometimes am a big meanie. I mean, they've also, for example, I think a lot of people have seen a little show they did called Sword Art Online. So, that's kind of where I'm talking about. Like, they just didn't elevate that show. They just did it. They did it fine. But so, B to C tier, I think, is a good starting point.
Okay. Well, why don't you just keep it rolling for us here?
Yeah, yeah. Next up, because we have quite a few of these, uh, probably the best choreography studio you'll see out there. We have Bones, who have done a lot of good stuff. I mean, most notably, you would say Full Metal Alchemist, Mob Psycho 100. I mean, two shows right off the bat that just will knock your socks off in a lot of the fights. But also some more, subdued works, Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, or around High School Host Club, Noragami. I mean, just some really stylish stuff. Even Bungo Stray Dogs, which I would argue maybe doesn't have the best writing out there, just kind of looks stylish and cool. And I don't know. I like Studio Bones. I would put them as a very solid B tier.
Let me type in. Give me an anime for that they did.
Full Metal Alchemist. Sorry, Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
Full Metal Alchemist.
I feel like I'm not going to be very fast at this, but I'm doing my best.
That's
Studio
okay.
Studio Bones. Let's see here. Studio Bones. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
hmm
Yeah, so I wasn't listening to what you said all that closely because I was grappling with the
That's
Twitch.
okay. I'll just talk right off the bat, give you time to digest
Yeah.
and say something. So
Yeah, I'm
they
just
did
looking.
both the original FMA and FMAB. So
Yeah. So we got Full Metal Alchemist, Mob Psycho, yeah. Yeah. Bungo.
I mean, you'll probably
Uh
recognize them. They did the Sword of the Stranger, the movie that I think you're
yeah.
really a big fan of. That
Yeah, it's a
the
good.
sword fight sequences are just
Oh,
once
blistering.
again not the best written movie, but some really awesome choreography that has even like Darker Than Black. Not a great story, didn't really appeal to me, but it moved really well.
I suggested the last score, so why don't you go with this one?
I mean, I had them as a strong B. Probably folks could argue for a light A as well, but
All right, B it is.
B for Bones, as Lady Emery says.
All right, what's next?
Next up, we have Brains Base. So Brains Base is, they haven't made a ton of stuff recently, but most notably they're known for Natsume's Book of Friends, all those seasons, Penguin Drum, which is very stylish Princess Jellyfish, which our anime club in the Discord just watched. So really fantastic stuff. I think most people, when they think of Brains Base, besides those, they're going to think of Bakano, which is a fantastic dub and just a fantastic stylish show that I think a lot of Western viewers grew up with and just oozed style, has a super iconic opening, and I really like Brain Space. I would say they don't pump out as much stuff as some of the others, but I would put them at A tier.
I was thinking C tier.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because I'm just looking at like this top of this list, and there's just not a lot here. I mean, yeah, so there's just
There's not a lot
mathematically
of quantity.
there's 14 anime but the better score than an 8, but like 7 of them are Natsume. And
hmm
some of them are pretty old, like Spice and Wolf, it's pretty old, and Durarara is pretty old. So,
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about it. Well, they didn't. I don't think they did all of Durarara. I think that was picked up by one of the side studios. But still, like some big names, like you're gonna get a quality show if Brain Space is doing it for the most part. I mean,
I guess we're going to put it at B again.
okay,
But
I'm fine with that.
but we need to order these. Which one of these is the best?
Oh, I mean, I would probably put.
I was thinking
Mm,
I was thinking A1, but
okay.
we'll have to
It's funny
decide.
because we both were reversed between A1 and no, because we were reversed between um, A1 and Brain Space, let's put Bones at the top.
Okay.
So let's do Bones, A1, Brain Space.
Yeah, we're gonna have to move one out eventually if we keep taking Bs. All right,
Probably,
what's
probably.
next?
Next up, we have Cloverworks, a newer studio in the fold. Um, but I really like what they've been doing. I love their style. I like how sharp their shows look. You have Bocchi the Rock, Wonder Egg Priority, like Heavy Sailor Uniform, My Dress Up Darling, some really huge name shows. Spy Family, might have heard of that one. Promised Neverland, season 1. I wonder if they'll ever get around to season 2. We'll see about that. Yeah, I like the way their shows look. Even the show like Shadow's House, just aesthetically is very pleasing to me. So I just really strong studio. If they're adapting a show, there's a very high chance that I will be watching it. And that's kind of how I'm ranking these is if someone said this studio is making a new anime, how excited am I for that? Like if A1 Studios makes a new anime, they do it all the time. Like I don't really care. Cloverworks? Yeah, I'm gonna probably watch it. So I have
It's got
Cloverworks as an A tier.
It's got to be an A or an S, right? I mean,
Yeah, I have them as an A tier. They just don't have the deep, deep catalog that your more iconic legendary studios have. So
now
I
you
think
wanted
I'd put
you
it in an A.
you wanted to get 5 in each letter grade, but I'm questioning
Well,
if
we have to do
Cloverworks.
6. We have to do 6 because you only put
Well,
5
all right,
categories.
whatever. But if Cloverworks is an A, I really question if we're gonna get 6 S's.
I mean,
All right.
you might be right. You might be right. You might be right. We'll come to that when we get to it. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to put it in an S, put it in an S, my dude.
Some of these images are not great. They just don't fit. The website
Yeah.
has chopped them down to the point where they don't
That's the
fit.
problem I had when I tried making it, but that's okay. People
All
can
right.
hear and see,
We'll see,
hopefully. So
we'll see if Cloverworks stays at an S or if it gets bumped down to an A. We'll see.
we will see. Next up, number 5 on the list, David Production. Which, if I say David Production,
JoJo.
yep, that's what 99% of what people are going to think of. Or other wacky shows like Bento, Cells at Work, Fire Force. So David Production to me, is just kind of the JoJo studio for the most part. Most of the other stuff they've done has been solid, but not wow worthy.
Yeah.
And while I do like JoJo as a concept, I don't think they did a bad job with it. I just don't really dig their stuff that much. I would put them at a medium D tier.
Ooh. D.
D, I mean, light C maybe. And when I was ranking these in my head before the podcast, I thought we had enough tier, so I I didn't have it in there. I had it in D, so I don't think it'll drop to. We'll see. I'm saying D tier.
I was gonna say B or C. So why don't we do it? Why don't we do C tier?
Let's do C for now. But
Wow.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. If you look at what they've done, it's mostly just JoJo and Fire Force, and that's pretty much it. And
Yeah, and Fire
everything-
Force looks kind of alright, and sounds amazing. I will say this: if we were going based on purely sound effects, David Production would probably be an S tier. They have some of the juiciest, crunchiest, gnarliest sounds, and like no studio here for the most part is without any artistic merit. Like we're gonna be forced to poop on some of them because of how it is, but we mean no judgment except for the fact that we're judging. So next up,
what's next?
back to questionable quality. We have Studio Dean, which you will see memed across the internet for lots of reasons. They have been around for a while. They've had some strong shows. They've had some weak patches, let's say. When you hear Studio
they did
Dean,
Pupa. I thought of Pupa. That's exactly what I looked up just now on this screen was Pupa. And that's not good. You don't want to be remembered for
not
Pupa.
good. On the other hand, if you want to weigh the scales, you have Samurai X, Trust and Betrayal, a fantastic Rurouni Kenshin.
That is pretty solid.
Thing. You have Shogen Roku Rakugo Shinju, which is a master class of very mature, dark, narrative storytelling. It's fantastic. It's a must-watch series. The Pat Labor movies and series are pretty fun. You're Under Arrest is a good old time. Like there's some really neat stuff that Studio Dean has done. You just have to wade through a lot of cred. Let's not forget Konosuba. They've done some of that. So
I'm also looking, Mason, like what have you done lately, right?
Yeah, what are
And
they punching out nowadays? And I get
yeah,
that.
so Orphan, it's just
Yeah,
terrible. Sasaki and Miyano, the movie, which has pretty mediocre reception.
yeah,
Junji Ito, Maniac.
not good.
More Orphan.
More Log Horizon, like past its prime.
Hatalia.
It's
Ugh,
not doing good stuff.
Jesus.
It did do Gurzeni, so you know, th- th-
Well, fair enough.
yeah,
A
you're
long time
on
ago,
your own.
though. I
I
mean,
had Studio Dean in my F tier, so I would put this as definitely a D tier show.
it's so amazing that Hatalia has had so much fucking content because what is wrong with us? Like, do you remember when like Hatalia was so popular? And it's
Yeah.
got like, and now it's got like 7 seasons or something. It's kind of ridiculous.
It just keeps
And
on
I'm just
going.
like, this shit was never good, people. All these people that were like being really overly obnoxious at anime cons and screaming a lot were all dressed like Hatalia characters. And God, there's one, two,
Isn't it
three, four.
Hatelia just the name of the character, and the show is like pick up girls in the
No,
dungeon?
they're named. All the characters are named after countries. There's like the main character's name is like
yeah, I
America
remember that one.
or
I'm
Italy.
thinking of something else.
Yeah, I put Dean in it as a D tier. I mean that studio's
Yeah.
ass.
Yes, I would
I'm
agree.
not afraid to say it.
The bravery.
It's pretty bad.
Moving on, our last D on the list is Doga Kobo. Another. It feels like a new studio, but they've been pumping out a lot of stuff recently. Uh, Very cutesy, pastel colors.
Give me an
You have,
anime. I can't think of a
new
single thing.
game. Plastic memories. How heavy are the dumbbells you lift?
Ugh,
Um,
Plastic Memories. That was memorable for me, but
it
not
was
not remotely original.
no, sure. They have done Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, which is probably one of the high points for me from them. So they've done some very decent shows.
Oshinoko.
Yes, 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 yes. So, some definitely good stuff out there that's worth checking out. But a lot of just shows that I didn't really jive with. Himoto Umaru-chan, Asteroid in Love, Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater, My Senpai's and like just shows that are fine, they have an appeal, but just are not my cup of tea. So I think their shows generally look good, but I just am not tending to be excited for them. Obviously, Oshinoko is getting a ton of love.
Yeah,
All
it's an
the benefit
outlier
to
though.
them, but yeah.
There's a ton of trash in this list from recently. I mean, and they've got a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, so I was probably thinking a very light C, maybe a D.
I can give it a C, but behind David Production.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
All right. What's next?
Up, we have Studio 8-Bit. So this is a studio that
Isekai?
is also kind of on the newer side. If you look up Stars Align or Blue Lock, you brought it up earlier. I think they've done both of those. They've mainly just done the encouragement of Climb. They haven't done a ton of stuff that I've seen, but their stuff tends to look pretty well done. I generally like their appeal. I think Blue Lock, with it being too core, kind of started to drain on it. It started to look a little stiff by the end, but they just have really nice looking shows for the most
Slime,
part. And
slime anime.
Yep, time I got reincarnated as a slime. So I think if they came out with something, I would be excited. They just don't have a ton of, history behind them. So I would probably give it, once again, a super light C.
When you say a light C, is that like a weak C?
A light C is on the weaker end of a C. It's in danger of being pushed off into a D.
They really only have 2 properties that cracked an 8 on this website. This is...
They're one of the newer studios that are building up their base, and I think their shows just generally look good, though.
They're not that new, bro. I mean, they got a ton of shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They've got like close to 55 anime on here.
Yeah, I
Man,
mean,
yeah.
you're
All right.
comparing that to something like A1 or PA Works or JC staff, and you're like, well, there's just a lot more to it.
All right, I put him in there as a C, but I think it's weak as shit.
I mean, put it in D then, my dude. I'm not
Fuck
gonna
him.
stop you.
Fuck him. Trash.
I had
D.
them in D tier in my list, so.
You're trash. All right.
Next
I don't
up.
have I don't have a list, by the way. I'm winging it, winging it completely.
That's fine.
All right,
I
what's
made
next?
this list in like 10 minutes. I had to go with a bit of a throwback with Studio Gynax. Probably. Is it on your thing?
I have Gynax in my
Okay,
list.
perfect. Neon Genesis Evangelion. I couldn't not put Gynax because not only do I have a Fooly Cooley poster right behind me, but to me that was such a big name in anime from obviously NGE, Gurren Lagann, probably the most gorgeous movie of all time, The Royal Space Force, His and Her Circumstances, just really ambitious, nerdy otaku stuff. Obviously with Otaku no Video, Gunbuster, the Daikon opening, just really stuff that you'll see influenced throughout anime for years to come. Like what Gainax
Ways
did
of
for the
Oniames.
industry. Yeah, that's amazing. Cutie Honey, they just you could always tell it was a Gynax thing. Obviously, their spiritual successor Trigger kind of carries that burden, but I adore Gynax. I love what they did, how they reference the past, how they're just kind of legendary, even though they're not
Are they
a
defunct?
thing. I believe so.
Because I see that their most recent anime is 6 years old now, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I didn't include Artland. They also went under, but I think the impact of Gynax should not be discounted. So I had them as a very, very high up there, maybe even an S. I adore Gynax.
I can agree with an A.
Let's do that then.
I am taking like I'm looking at both what is their total catalog of good shows, like numerically, and then I'm also looking at like what they've done lately, and since they're dead, so to speak, it's kind of it's kind of hard for me to give them an S because they haven't done anything in a while, but
Yeah, that's fair.
I do
That's
respect the lineage though, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Next
Gonzo?
up, Gonzo. Very interesting name when it comes to stuff. To me, Gonzo, I always associate with trying to be ambitious with new 3D CG technology or some weird art style, and maybe not always sticking the landing. So Gonzo, for me, you have really great shows like Welcome to the NHK, the absolute bizarre take on Gankutsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo, and Boku Rano, just an absolutely wild and depressing show with one of the best openings
I can't think of the name of this fucking anime. It's driving me crazy.
that they've done.
I'll have it in a second here. Fucking Last Exile.
Okay. So they have, some winners in their category, but a lot like Studio Dean, it's going to come with a lot of just crummy
Trash
stuff. Romeo, Juliet, Speed Grapher, Akiba's
Jesus.
Trip, 18 If.
They only have 2 anime better than an 8 on here, out of 143. That's
not good.
That's fucking bad, bro. And those two those two animes are Gankutsuo and Welcome to the NHK.
Yeah, and those are fantastic shows.
Oh, dude. You're in trouble when Chrono Crusade is on your second line. That's wow. That's an anime that I watched in like high school and I liked it, or in college. But if I watch that now, there's no chance I'm digging on Chrono Crusade. Oh yeah. Oh, Fullmetal Panic is dope. Fullmetal Panic.
Yeah, but that was before people liked it. Because then it went to Kyoto Animation. So Gonzo for me is easily a D tier.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I would put it at the bottom of D tier.
The bottom.
The bottom.
I thought for sure Dean would be at the bottom.
Yeah, but Dean came out with Rakugo, and Rakugo is special.
What's next?
Next up, we have JC Staff, who is just a juggernaut. They've done a ton of stuff, of very wild things. You have the Bakuman series, Joshi Raku, Revolutionary Girl Utena, Psyche K, Honey and Clover. Just a lot of stuff. Food Wars, I think a lot of people have seen. They've done some really weird stuff like Alien 9, some throwback stuff like Arslan and Slayers. Toradora is another one that people know. So they've just done a lot of work. Pet Girl Sakuruso, all over the place. To me, JC Staff kind of in the same vein as like A1 Pictures. They get a lot of stuff. They don't have a distinct artistic flair that I'm like, oh, this is the JC Staff show and I love it. They do an adaptation. It kind of looks like their other shows, and I'm like, okay, that was a good show because it was solidly written before it came to them. So JC Staff doesn't do a whole lot for me, but
God, it's 412 anime. Are you kidding?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
when I say
so
someone's
many.
new and you're like, oh, they did 50 anime, I'm like, that's true. That's not nothing,
Jesus.
but it's also 18 variants of encouragement of climb for 8-bit, whereas JC Staff is just, that's a lot. The question is it good a lot? I tend not to think so. I would put them as C tier.
It's just a matter of when you look at their shows. Man, I'd love to know. Man, let's take a look at the bottom. Oh man, there's some stinkers in here. Oh, there's a lot of shows in here I don't even know. They're so old. The studio's so old.
Yeah, they've been around for so long.
They have an anime called Wolf Guy. What?
Hey, me too. Sometime we all wake up feeling like a wolf guy.
Shin Megami Tensei has an anime? I didn't know that. Crazy. What is their crappiest anime supposedly that I recognize? Wick Sauce Diva. That's what I recognize.
I mean, in my humble opinion, they did a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom, which is pretty down there. But on the other hand, hear me out, Mitz, they did Guards's Wing.
Oh God.
Which is a masterpiece.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Let me put it this way. Let me sell you on them. JC Staff did One Punch Man Season 2. Do I need to go on?
What is the where do you want to put them?
It said, I think light C tier, bottom of C tier.
I can agree. What's next? Kingdom of Citrus.
Kingdom of Citrus, kind of another newer studio, but man, oh man, do I like the stuff that they do. Kind of similar to Cloverworks in just, I like the way their stuff looks. They did Made in Abyss, the stunning Revue Starlight, Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, Barakamon, just really good stuff. Even Scorching Ping Pong Girls just was a fun show.
Yeah,
so
let's see here.
I just like their stuff. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean the entire yeah. Let's see, what do they have that's good that isn't Made in Abyss? Ooh. Wow. Tokyo Magnitude 8.0.
Revue Starlight is unironically amazing. The movie is gorgeous, and I like Barakamon.
I'm gonna need to be sold on this one because right behind Made in Abyss is Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, and I thought that anime was not good. And then Shield Hero.
I thought it was fine.
Oh man.
I mean, I have Kingdom of Citrus as a B. I like just the look of their shows for the most part.
Do you want to put this studio above David Production?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think their stuff looks really cool.
Did you move to Denver? Because you're smoking some good reefer.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Like if Kingdom of Citrus is putting out something, you know it's gonna look rad. I mean, obviously Shield Hero was Garbo. Like I can't defend everything they did, and they haven't done a lot. Sure. So if you want to put them at C, you have that prerogative.
I can't live with myself if they're above a C.
Okay, then put it at C.
I'm just trying to decide where to put it. I can compromise with you and put them as the best C currently.
Sure. Let's do that.
All
I'm
right.
okay with that.
Knowing that they might get bumped up because there's a lot of stuff at the bottom here. So far, guys,
We'll see.
for people listening, we've done 11 shows, which is a third of the list. We're probably not going to get through it all. And we have Cloverworks, Gainax, and Bones at the top 3. But I think that's going to change here in a second.
Yes, because next we have Kyoto Animation, which I think is an easy S tier. They just have a there's nothing quite like it. They have a special aura to their shows that just is always awesome. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of the show itself, a Kyoto Animation show is always something special. Keion, Haruhi, Nichijou, Lucky Star, Clannad, Love Chunibyo, Sound Euphonium, Silent Voice. I mean, so much heart goes into their shows.
Yeah.
And even stuff like Free or Surune or Amagi Brilliant Park, just shows that are kind of just whatever at times, look good, are just they're very thoughtful shows, well produced. You're always going to get quality with a Kyoto Animation show, even if it's not your sprinkling of genre. I mean, they do a lot of cutesy stuff at times, but they just have balls in the story, and I love them. Kyoto Animation is S tier easy.
It's an S. It's easy. What's next?
Next up, we have. Do you want to say it? Because you have so much fun saying it.
Lerche?
No, above Lerche.
Le Deuce.
Le Deuce.
on your face.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Le Deuce has some okay stuff. I think most recently they've done Tomo-chan is a girl. I think that's them.
I have so many drops about poop on the soundboard. I can't find any of them. It's so upsetting.
Oh no.
Where are my poop drops? What's going on with this? Jeez. I'm never going to forgive myself. There we go.
I'm gonna shit on your face.
There we go.
Yeah, but I
Le
already ate
Deuce.
this shit burger.
All right, Le Deuce. Yeah.
Le Deuce is a D tier for me. I just haven't liked what little I've seen. Omadians in Your Savage Season is fine, I guess, but most of their shows just not for me.
Well, now I want to take a look here. I'm trying to get them. I hate how when I go to the fucking Mao and I type in the damn studio name, like I don't just get a page of them. Like it's just obnoxious. Tomo-chan I like. That was their newest. Let's see what they got here at the top. Okay. Yeah, Tomo-chan is both their. Oh man, this is a shit ass studio.
They don't have a lot, and what they have isn't great. Even Tomo-chan, which I can, acquiesce that you enjoyed. It wasn't because of the production, and besides like the big thing at the end, which had the good kiss. Sure, fine, but like for the most part, that show looked like doo doo.
Is it worse than Gonzo for you? It's ironic that their name has poop in it because that's kind of what they are. I'm just gonna put them. I'm gonna put them between Dean and Gonzo.
Okay, that's fine.
All right,
that's fine.
Now we're on Lerche, I think.
Now we have Lerche, which I definitely like more than Le Deuce. I think they have some neat shows. They have a very, to me, Lerche is the eyeliner studio. They love giving their characters aggressive eyeliners. Look at Assassination Classroom, look at Scum's Witch, Given, Hanako-kun. Just shows that look pretty good. I just don't like the shows they pick. The one show that's like a highlight to me is Asobi Asobase, which is an off-the-walls crazy classroom comedy, which I adore, but for the most part what they bring to the table looks good, but it's not enjoyable to me.
Man, they haven't done much lately, have they? Given is their third newest. Isn't that pretty? That's 2 years old. Okay.
Yeah, I think they did the movie as well, which they were working on, but there's just not a lot to them.
And their best 5 shows are Ass Class, Given, Asobi, Given Again, and whatever the fuck this is.
Probably Classroom of
of
the
the Elite,
which is so a show that exists. I don't need to be.
It can't be better than a C tier, right?
No. I was gonna put them at the low end of C.
I just had a jet fly over my house. It sounds like it's about 100
I
feet
heard
off the
it.
ground. Like, bro, really? Like, can't you tell we're trying to record a podcast? Go fly your fucking jet somewhere else, douche. I'm gonna lay a deuce on your face. Damn. What am I supposed to do? Okay. What's next? Ooh, a good one.
Next up, we have Esther, Studio Madhouse, which is, I think, the most shoo-in of Esters of all Esters, which is a mix of they have done a bajillion shows,
Yeah,
and
400
they've
of
come
them.
out with a bajillion really good
Bangers.
shows. Hajime no Ippo, Tatami Galaxy, Chiayafru, Sunny Boy, Paranoia Agent, Perfect Blue, all like Satoshi Kon
Yeah.
stuff.
Millennium
Paprika,
Actress.
Millennium Actress, Deno Coil, Kaiba,
Rainbow.
Shigurui. Like the list goes on and on. Like I can
Nana,
talk about
Death Note,
their.
Ippo, Hunter x
They
Hunter.
have more shows that are like 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s than most studios have shows. They just have they been on a bit of a decline recently? Sure, I'll give you that. But they have such a catalog of must watches that if someone sat down and said, I'm only going to watch one anime studio for the rest of my life, what studio is it going to be?
Madhouse,
Madhouse is
probably.
one of the options you would give them. So
I-
it's
Now-
no debate.
Do you put it above Kyoto and KyoAni?
I think if you're saying if a show came out today, what am I more excited for? It would be Kyoto Animation. If you said what studio is like of all time, I think you have to give it to Madhouse. As much as I love KyoAni and their culture and just what they have provided to anime, I think Madhouse just has that.
I was gonna edge it. I was gonna give it to Madhouse over KyoAni because of one thing. They do both have an unbelievable amount of good shows between them, but Madhouse just seems like it has a wider array of types of anime. So I'm looking at like Wolf Children, Tatami Galaxy, Ippo, Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, Monster. None of those anime are remotely similar.
Yeah.
They're just capable of doing pretty much anything. Whereas KyoAni seems like a lot of like, Iyashike and like, fluffy girl shows and a lot
Their
of this.
slice of genres is a little more limited than Madhouse.
Yeah.
And I think Madhouse is always trying to find new stuff to do. They try not to do too many sequels unless it's Hajime no Ippo, in which they said they're going to do that forever, but it is what it is.
All right, what's next?
Next
Ooh.
up is what many could consider a modern day Madhouse, which is the little known Mappa.
Well,
who
it is modern day Madhouse. Maruyama founded both of them.
Yeah, exactly. And
Oh,
they
that's
have
what you
just
meant,
been
yeah.
going out there and grabbing every big name show you
Tons
could
of ass.
possibly imagine, with taking Attack on Titan from what studio, Dora Hidoro, Chainsaw Man, Kids on the Slope, Terror and Resonance, Yuri on
Vinland
Ice,
Saga.
Zombieland Saga, Vinland Saga, Dororo, Jujutsu Kaisen, just if you're gonna find someone walking around in modern day anime attire, there's a good chance they're wearing a shirt that was done by Mappa. Like, they are just a massive studio that people really have to like because they're getting all the best, brands and source material. So, and even Mappa was involved with some of the Hajime no Ippo stuff at the end there. So
They're the same fucking studio as Madhouse. It's just a continuation with like another group of people.
yeah, a younger crew, and
It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't want to be like, oh, the commercial stuff is good, but that's also they're making good shows and making a lot of them. So I would probably also give them S tier.
I gave him an S tier, but I put him behind KyoAni because even though they've done a lot of really great stuff lately, they don't have quite the multi-decade history, at this point. Also, I feel like Mappa, Madhouse, and KyoAni are definitely better studios than Cloverworks, and so I want to move Cloverworks down to an A.
Okay, I'm okay with that. That's where I had it originally.
Yeah, I just don't think Cloverworks deserves to be up there with like the legendary anime studios of all time. All right, we're making some progress. So we've done 5, 10, 15, 17 of them. And right now, Madhouse, KyoAni, and Mappa are at the top. So I think this is correct. This is correct so far.
Next up, and we can keep on blitzing through these, we have PA Works, which, they've been around a pretty good while. In my head, I equate them with JC Staff just because of the two, letters at the beginning. That's uh, abbreviation for the full name. But yeah, PA Works has done some really good stuff, and then they went on a big decline, and then they've been coming back up. So recently, we've talked about how they've been killing it with Ya Boy, Kong Ming, Akiba Maid War, Buddy Daddies. Like they've been on a winning streak, but they've also done classics like Shirobako, The Eccentric Family, Tari Tari, Hanosaka Iroha. I mean, and that whole like suite of working shows from that to Sakura Quest. So I kind of like PA Works, but also they've had those patches where I'm like, I'm not a huge fan. So I would put them at B tier.
They've done a lot less than I thought, honestly. Not that many shows, 50, 59. Yeah, I'm just looking here. Yeah. It's not terrible. Yeah, I think B tier is fine. I mean, because they have had some good stuff lately. I feel like they've had some success, and they've definitely got some decent shows. And yeah, I think B tier is fine. Are we full? No, we're not. We're not full yet on B.
No.
Where in B to put them? I think in the middle somewhere.
I would put them behind A1.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm okay
All
with
right.
that.
And the next one is, I can't even fucking read this logo.
This is Piero, Studio Piero, who a bit more of a
Who's done a lot of
old
porn.
School. I'm sure they have, my friend.
A lot of it.
Yeah, Studio Piero is just one of those like, oh, they're a studio, they're still a thing.
Yeah.
People most likely know them for Tokyo Ghoul, Naruto. They did the first OVA in Dallos. They did Kimagure Orange Road back when that was a thing. They did
GTO.
Bleach. They did Black Clover. They've done Baby Steps. So they've
had
had some classics under their belt and some like. When I think of Pyro, I think of the long-running shonens like Bleach, Naruto, Black Clover, stuff like that. So
What have you done for me lately, though?
what are you doing for me lately?
Bleach, the new Bleach, people loved. Cool. After that, Kingdom. People love fucking Kingdom. I haven't seen shit of Kingdom, but people are obsessed with this anime. I don't know who this is though. Like our Discord, I've never heard someone utter even a single thing about the anime Kingdom. But then this fucking fourth season's like the 10th highest rated anime ever.
Yeah, I've been.
And I'm like, the fuck is going on, bro?
I feel like I should check it out.
Yeah, no
I feel
shit.
like I want to give it a shot.
And it's been like in the high 8s on Mal since it started. Like it's not like this is an anomaly. I don't know. Yeah, Kingdom third season 8.8. It's fucking nuts. No one on our Discord cares. Kind of, damn. Captain Avatar and the Twitch said Piero is a clown show. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're middle of the road.
I had them at C tier on my list, so I would put them at the bottom of C tier.
They're all the same to me. I don't fucking care where they go. That's it for C. We have 6 in the C tier now. So.
Yeah. So you'll either get bumped up or down, depending.
We may as well fucking finish this, even though we're gonna run long. What's next?
We'll do quick later. Next up we have Pine Jam, kind of a newer studio. Haven't done a ton of stuff. I like the look of their shows. They're very, very sharp looking in a lot of ways. That Just Because, Gamers, Gleitner.
Come on, this studio's trash.
Do it yourself, but I will look at that show and be like, that looks cool, but I don't really want to watch it. So they just need some better.
They're fucking
properties.
trash, bro.
I would
put
them in D tier.
Yeah, I already put them in. They're done.
They're already done. Next, Production IG, a juggernaut in a lot of ways. I think these folks definitely get to S tier for me. And obviously, it should be noted that like a studio is not what makes these shows. A studio is the corporation that funds. It's always about the people, but we should specify that. Production IG is S tier for sure. Ghost in the Shell alone is definitely worthy of what they've accomplished, but things like Giovanni's Island, Haikyuu, Welcome to the Ballroom, Jinro,
Man.
The World Brigade, involved with Fooly Cooley, Bunny Drop, Miss Hokusai, with a super underrated movie, Cromartie High School. They're just
Jeez.
a lot of good stuff. Vinland Saga they were involved with. I don't think they're the primary producer of that, but you know what I mean.
They've got like
they
50
make a lot and they produce a lot.
They have like 50 anime over a 5 or over an 8 on here.
Yeah, Moribito
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
and Windy Tales, which is
But I will say though, Mason, they're taking credit for a lot of shows that they don't fully do all the work on. Like this is a studio. This is
they do
a
a lot of
studio.
production.
Yeah, they do like
It's their name.
we're gonna do like 10% of it, and then they get put on here as doing like Attack on Titan, when in reality Attack on Titan is Wit and Mappa.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So it's
it's
hard to
like-
say exactly what they get involved with, but I feel like they just I don't know. They get involved with good stuff.
Didn't they do the animated sequence from Kill Bill? Because that was fucking dope.
Ooh, probably.
I think they did. I can put him in the S tier just for that. All right, the next one's Studio Shaft.
I think this will be our biggest disagreement of the day.
Ooh.
I love Studio Shaft. When I talk about you watch a show and you're like, yep, it's from this studio, I know without even looking because it just has a certain style or pizzazz or personality. Shaft is that for me. Obviously, you can give a lot of credit to that for their very esteemed director who
I haven't seen shit of these.
Oh, they're so good though. Mark
I haven't
Comes in Like a
fucking seen
Lion
dick on this
is
list, bro.
what I think a lot of people know. But a lot of the Monogatari series is what they're known for. Madoka Magica. I mean, that takes up a lot of stuff. Nisekoi if you're into harems. Rek if you're into old school harems. Aff, A Tale of Memories. Mekaku City Actors.
I have seen that.
They just... I love their shows. What's the
What is it? What is it with this
the
like hot
feature-
trash? What is it with this hot trash
I know
like
Zetsubo
recency?
Sensei.
Huh?
Zetsubo Sensei is really cool. Yes, Shaft has been suffering a lot recently. They've coming out with a really bad Ruby Ice Queendom thing that I wasn't a huge fan of. A bunch of like
A bunch of garbage.
remakes and remixes that I wasn't huge on, but man, in the 2010s, Shaft was fire, just absolute killer show after killer show, and I think I don't know. I would put them in A tier. I mean, I would say I would put them in S tier, but
Their last
I
good
think-
anime
I think
series
that's
came out
too
6
much,
years
so
ago.
I'd say A tier.
Man,
They're good though. They're so cool. They're so rad.
I feel like they're more on like Bones' level, but I'll put them behind Gainax
that's
just for you.
I love Shinbo. He's very cool.
But they haven't.
next-
But like they haven't had an anime really like crack a 7 on here since 6 years ago. They haven't done dick lately.
They're slumbering. They're
fucking
storing
dead,
their
bro.
energy. They're building their power level.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There's a big
just-
spirit bomb coming.
Put them as a low 8, and we'll. All
right, Silver Link is next.
Silver Link. I think I've gone on record quite a lot saying I don't like Silver Link.
This is the Isekai studio.
They do a lot of isekai, but they are kind of like A1 in that they get in a bunch of shows, but instead of making them average, I think they just look bad. I don't really ever like how a Silver Link show looks. I don't like how they sound. I don't like how
fucking
they feel,
trash.
how they move. I just don't like Silver Link. They're so bad.
This is not good.
For
there's
those
not
listening, they've done Watamote, they've done Wise Man's Grandchild, they did Nan Nan Biori, which people love. Kokoro Connect isn't bad. Tanaka-kun is always listless isn't bad. But it's a lot of like Masamune Kun's Revenge. It's a lot of...
It's got to be a D, right?
I would put them in D.
The D and C are now filled, so we're gonna have to start moving people up to B. If you
Well,
really
let's-
want to have 5,
Better
if
get
you really
some
want
good
to.
shows.
What? All
Or
right.
studios.
Next is Sunrise. That's gonna be much better.
Yeah. Studio Sunrise is, I mean...
Holy
For
shit!
the
They've done a lot.
iconic, when you hear Sunrise, obviously your first thought will be Gundam. That's kind of what they're known for, but let's not forget they did Bebop, they did Planet
Bebop.
Test,
Yeah.
they did Gintama.
Code Geass.
Yeah, some solid shows. I don't love everything they do, but they have that space mecha like theme locked down. So you can expect something neat. Colorful was a pretty good movie as well. So yeah, Sunshine is, I would say, easily B tier. Probably A for
I'm
a lot
thinking
of
A.
people. I think what they've done, Gundam alone, is enough to get them to the top. So yeah, let's do A tier.
I mean,
I would put them at like, we could put them at the top of A tier.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Oh, I'm still on Silverlink. What am I doing here? Fuck am I doing? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. I kept looking for Bebop, and I'm like, where's Bebop? I must have clicked off of it. I think this next one's another. Oh wait, what is this next one?
Oh, smells
Studio T-Rex.
Oh, what is this?
Studio T-Rex. Let me see what they've done. Classics.
I think you need to make a new tier for SSS plus plus plus.
Thank God that Twitch censors these images are censored. Oh man, they've done such classics as the Welcome to the Sexy Elf Forest. My mom is a succubus.
Yeah.
And let us not forget such classics such as Handyman Saitou or hypnosis training. Mitsuki's favorite hentai studio, known for big bountiful breastises.
That's got to be double B tier.
It's gonna be S tier for sure.
Yeah. Okay. S tier.
Yeah, S tier. All right. What's next?
Middle of S tier.
No,
put it above Mappa.
No, I'm gonna put it just above KyoAni.
Okay. Next we have
just to drive
TMS
the fans crazy.
Entertainment, which is, I think people just forget about the studio. A lot of times, a lot of people will know it for doing a lot of the Lupin series. Lupin the Third, that is. Dr. Stone. Real Life.
Ohio. The new Fruits Basket. But they don't have a lot beyond that.
They don't have a ton of range. They did Megalobox.
Yeah.
Rent a Girlfriend.
Meh.
They have some alright properties, but for how long they've been around, they don't have the deep cuts. So
Yoa Pedal's pretty good, but it got kind of weird later on.
Yeah, so the question is that low B or is that high C and it bumps up David Pro or Kinema Citrus?
Well, let's see what they've done lately. How about that?
I mean, obviously
Dr. Stone,
Fruits Basket, stuff like that.
I feel like it's a C. There's a lot of just trash in here. You gotta go pretty fucking far down the list to get to the Fruits Basket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chat is pretty much, they're leaning towards the B.
Oh, they want a B? All right, we'll put them at the bottom.
I put them at the bottom of B. I'm okay with that.
All right, next is Toei Animation, another legend. They're gonna have a shitload of stuff. Holy fuck! 888 anime. Holy shit!
I mean, a lot of those are just multiple variants of Dragon Ball.
They're all Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon
or other stuff.
Slam Dunk though, but see, here's the thing. It's like, man, when you think about Toei Animation, these might not be like particularly artful or like Oscar-worthy shows, but they are the driving edge of shonen. I mean, they've got One Piece, Slam Dunk, Dragon Ball, Fist of the North Star, the original
Harlock.
Dragon Ball, Kindaichi Case Files. They've got Sailor Moon, Galaxy Express 999. I mean, there's some, not all this stuff is new, but like shit, just from Sailor Moon, One Piece, Slam Dunk, and Dragon Ball.
To me, Toei is like the epitome of like, I don't like their shows. I don't like how they look. They do nothing for me. I don't like Toei shows, but the shows that they put out are so monumentally important to the industry, to the culture, to the popularity of anime that you can't deny like what they've done.
It's got to be a B or an A, right?
Yeah, I I want to say low A. I hate Toei shows. I hate them so much, but I want to let's go with low A. I can concede that.
I put them after Gainax and better than Shaft.
Okay.
We're running out of shows here. We only got 4 left.
You might have skipped Trigger, but maybe that was intentional.
I didn't skip Trigger.
We didn't?
No.
Oh, cool. Let's do Trigger then.
Yeah.
I
Trigger.
like Trigger. To me, it's obviously just a spiritual successor in a lot of ways to Gynax. I
Yeah.
love their personalities. They're a bunch of fun at conventions. They're absolutely off the walls bonkers. To me, I think Mitz, you would put them in the similar mindset as Shaft, where they're just not your style, not your speed, not what you enjoy. But if they come out with the show, there's a very good chance I'm going to be watching it. From Cyberpunk Edge Runners to Kill la Kill to their upcoming Dungeon Meshi adaptation. Little Witch Academia was a great movie. Like, they just have a flair and style to them, even if it's something like SSSS Gridman or Promare or that show where they're like critters, BNA, that I just don't really
I can't
dig,
forget.
but they're cool.
I can't forget that they did Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It doesn't come up here as a TV series because it's technically like an OVA, but it's in here. It's by far their highest rated anime, and I'm not a big Trigger fan, to be honest with you, but I can't see it being lower than a B, so it's got to be an A or a B. And to me, it's not quite as like, it's not as, you can't put it higher than Gainax. There's no way.
No, I
And you
would put
can't-
it right below them.
I think it's got to be. Man, I can't put Trigger above Toei Animation. I mean,
Put it as a high B then.
there's just not very much here. I mean, like, they haven't done much.
Do high B. Pretty please, or at least between Bones and A1.
Oh, whoops, that's the wrong logo. I take this. I have 2 for Toei Animation on here for some reason. There we go. But we're only running out of space here. All right. What's next?
Next up we have, and we're almost done. Last 3. UFO
It's a
table.
long segment. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's okay.
thought we were on White Fox.
I mean, I was going in alphabetical order.
Alphabetically.
We can do White Fox.
Yeah, whatever. I'm on White Fox right now.
Is
Steins Gate.
Steins Gate,
ReZero.
Katana Gatari, Girls Last Tour,
Damn, that's about it.
but Ari Ferretta, Goblin Slayer.
Oh, dude,
Okay,
yeah,
maybe not
Goblin
some
Slayer, man. That's a fucking Chad right there.
Yeah, no, Steins Gate, Devil's a Part-Timer, which you only saw the awful season 2 of. I don't mind some of White Fox's shows, but for the most part, I think they're going to be misses. I would put them high C, low B. I think we need to move something from A up to S.
I think that they're in like the
No,
middle of
actually,
C
no.
somewhere.
Put them in the middle of C for now.
I'm
I
gonna
agree
move
with that. Let's wait on the moving because I think we got some big hitters at the very end here.
Well, I moved him already. I think I did it correctly.
Okay, that's fine. Next up, we have UFO Table, which a lot of people are going to hear Demon Slayer, Fate Zero, or I should say the entire Fate series, and the Garden of Sinners movie series, which are 3 kind of big properties. And I think they haven't done a ton, but the UFO Table show has a ton of production, ton of sparkles and effects,
Yeah,
and they
it is a
usually
good
look
studio.
really good. If you're getting a UFO Table treatment, you're getting something juicy and solid, and sometimes a terrible Junji Ito adaptation. But for the most part,
It just
I
has.
would put them at A tier.
It has no breadth. I mean, that's the problem. Like, they've done Fate, they've done Kyokai, Kata no Kyokai, and they've done Demon
Yep.
Slayer, and that's about all. I mean, really. So when you look at this, man, where do you place a studio that's only got 3 properties? With somewhere near.
It's tricky. Tricky.
Is it near Trigger? And is Cloverworks too high right now? I'm worried about that. I feel like Cloverworks is too high. I think Sunrise is gonna end up moving up.
Move. You can move Cloverworks down a bit. Let's get our last ones in it, and then we'll figure it out. Are we at our last one now?
Yeah, we can do the last one, which is another big one.
Last up, as you might have guessed based on the alphabet, is Studio Wit. These guys obviously were the first ones to take a crack at Attack on Titan. They did it for the first 3 seasons.
Vinland Saga, too.
Vinland Saga, Ranking of Kings, Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. They
Spy
did
Family.
the other half of Spy Family, Rolling Girls, and Great Pretender, Vivi Fluorite's Eye Song. So
it's pretty good.
I love Studio Wit. Even at their worst titles that I just bounce off of, their flair of animation is almost Kyoto Animation-esque. You're always getting something creative and unique and pushing, and just they have a very diverse art style. Like Ranking of Kings, Great Pretender, the Attack on Titan, like those After the Rain, those all look so visually different, but all so good for what they're going for. Ancient Magus Bride, just a ton of quality stuff. I want almost everything to be done by Studio Wit, and as much as I hate to see it go to MAPPA, I just know it gives us more time for other new stuff from them. So I would put Wit in S or A tier.
I put him at the top of A. I moved Gainax up, and I put Wit as the top in A.
Okay.
So I don't know. You can take a look at how we've got it right now. But right now, and that's the end, we've got the A tiers are Madhouse, KyoAni, MAPPA, Production IG, Sunrise, and Gainax. I feel like that's feels about right. And then the A tiers are Wit, Toei Animation, UFO Table, Cloverworks, Shaft, and Trigger.
All the images on your thing that look terrible, except for Toei.
Yeah, some of them are like PNGs or something. I don't know. There's a million images.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
I don't know. I like it. And then the trash is Silverlink, 8-Bit, Dean, Pine Jam, Lay Deuce, and Gonzo. In other words, if an anime comes out from those animes, stay away.
Yeah.
Stay as far away as you can get.
I mean, I hope we showed that every studio has some decent shows and some stinkers, and obviously you need to watch the show to figure out how it is. But I think I'm okay with this list. I'm very okay with it.
I think it's pretty good, and I'm going to post it on the Discord.
Post a link so people can make their own tier thing out of it. Oh, let's not forget, we have the mix of S+ and double D tier, that is T-Rex.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, T-Rex
so
is getting T-Rex is honorary S class.
You know it. We have our weekly trivia question before we get into our news break. In the world that Handyman Saitou finds himself, approximately how long is the Made Raka unit of measurement? Think about it. Hold it in your hand. Hold it in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know the answer when we get back from the break. See you soon.
Hey, Anime Addicts, this is Mitsuki bringing you your anime news break, starting off with a new manga from the creator of Golden Kamuy, Noda. So in the 27th issue of Young Jump Magazine, it was announced that Noda will be making a new manga property that will also premiere in Young Jump Magazine in the 35th issue on July 27th. So if you're a fan of Golden Kamuy or the author, look out for that coming up. Of course, Golden Kamuy is a very popular manga and anime. The manga has 24 million copies in print. Next up, there was an interview done with the creator of Somadi in the Forest and the Guardian of the Forest, Yako Gudeishi, who said a lot of things in their interview, most notably that they were asking fans for financial support to help cover their rent and utilities. Just pretty shocking for an author that got an anime made out of their property. And also, they expressed regret that the anime was even made at all, saying that they were too busy and had no time to supervise the work of the adaptation, and discovered that the voice actors mispronounced the name Somadi in the property, and then the editor never caught the mistake. So there's just a Titanic mispronounced name of the main character which has led them to regret the anime being made. Next up, the Agency for Cultural Affairs website accidentally makes a goof and lists the manga pirate site URLs for over 6 months. So there was a PowerPoint presentation put together that was posted on the Agency for Cultural Affairs in Japan that aimed at educationally trying to highlight the access numbers of the top manga pirate sites in Japan, just to highlight how bad the piracy was. But they accidentally made public the URLs of the top 10 most accessed sites, which is just a big no-no and pretty wild for the government that's trying to deter piracy to literally promote the pirate sites for 6 months. So big goof by the Japanese government. Lastly, there's a new Macross animation project that's going to be made by Sunrise. In the final day of the Valkyrie final live tour concert, they announced that a new Macross project is coming. Of course, Macross has a whole lot of stuff in print already as far as anime goes. The franchise started in 1982 with Super Dimension Fortress Macross. They also have Macross 7, Macross Frontier, Macross Delta, several theatrical films, and a bunch of OVAs, including Macross 2, Macross Plus, Macross Zero, etc. So if you're a fan of Macross, as many seem to be, as it's kind of the counterpart to Gundam in a lot of ways, at least in my opinion, look out for new properties coming your way. This was Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. Now time to get back to the podcast. As we listen to the Dragon Ball superhero theme, you have to ask yourself, have you ever wanted to be a superhero? Well, I'll tell you how you can do it. The next time you go to Amazon to buy anything, go to supporttheaddicts.com first, scroll down, click our Amazon affiliates link, and you are going to be getting the podcast a sweet royalty, because anything you buy on Amazon after clicking that link gets the podcast just that, a significant royalty from Amazon. You'll be helping out the show without having to spend any money yourself. It's just one extra step. You go to supporttheaddicts.com, click the link, and again, anything you buy on Amazon after clicking it will get the podcast a royalty. A new car, school supplies, office supplies, things for your house, video games, whatever it is, it'll get the podcast that sweet royalty. So remember, be a superhero. The next time you go to Amazon to shop, don't forget to stop at www.supporttheaddicts.com.
My name is Sonny Strait, voice of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, and I'm an anime addict. Kamehameha, bitches!
Hey guys, we're back for the podcast. Before the news break, we had an in-show trivia question for you from Saitou, Handyman Saitou. Approximately how long is a Madaraka? Oh, I would not have gotten this right. You said 30 centimeters or 12 inches, but he holds up a fairy and goes about this much, and he's holding up a fairy. And, damn, yeah, a Madaraka, so she's about 12 inches tall? Okay.
Yeah.
AKA the size of his penis.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Oh my god. Yeah, sorry for the long news break. I was assisting Pancake with a video game. You know, it is important in life to take good care of your wife, even if it means shooting some zombies, helping her out. You gotta be a Chad like that. You gotta be a good.
You gotta pull up your sleeves and do the tough masculine work of playing video games.
She's just embarking on the incredible journey that is Resident Evil 4.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
And but the town square section at the beginning of the game is pretty hard because there's like 60 enemies that all come at you. And unless you're a loser like me who's beaten the game close to 10 times, you wouldn't know all the little secrets. So
that's fair. I think we should just jump to mailbags. I think this episode's going a little long, and we are
running long.
Yeah.
All right.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. All right, mailbags. If you go to AAApodcast.com/mailbag, you will find the place where you do all of your different types of submissions for the podcast, the mailbags, the topic requests, the Shark Tanks, the, whatever. There's a ton of stuff there, lots of choices for you. We like to have a lot of listener participation because, well, it's really a listener-driven podcast, and it's been for you since the beginning. So, Erratic writes, "Hey, AAA Podcast, what is your favorite song outside of anime that you would like to see in an anime?" I don't know a ton of songs, really. Like, I'm compared to, like, someone like Mason or Pancake, I don't know I know nothing about fucking music. But I do like Coheed and Cambria a lot. I think Welcome Home is a fucking badass song, and I'd love to see that used somewhere. I would also like to see more classical music in anime. There's a lot of very dramatic and beautiful and intense classical music that just doesn't seem to get used a lot. And it seems like it'd be really easy to use it because it's a lot of that stuff's like close to, public domain. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very good person to ask this type of question, but I'm sure Mason is.
So actually, I'll talk about this next week when we do the unexplored pictures I had planned. But one of my big selling points of the film was that it has a pretty extensive soundtrack that includes Bach and Chopin in it. A lot of piano
dare you
playing.
say? Are you fucking with me?
Yeah, I know.
Because I will straight up come through this computer.
I know it's not Chopin. I just wanted to hear you freak out a bit.
You wanted to hear me cry inside?
I do. No. So, yeah. So, for me, there's so many good songs out there, but it's hard to think of an instance where the song would fit without being forced or something. So, I'm surprised the band Uplift Spice hasn't got more songs selected for anime. I think they're a super fun group that would fit well. I'm not going to go through my whole list. You can pay that extra money and get the show notes. But the one song that always elicits a vivid scene to me is a song called Dark Horse by the band Converge, which is a super heavy hardcore band. But to me, it's really frantic and full of energy and kind of swaying and just pummeling. And it reminds me every time I listen to it of a cutlass fight on like a pirate ship that's like tilting in a raging storm, and it's just woozy and it's intense and you're holding on for dear life. And for some reason I think that song would be rad to see in like sort of the Stranger Bones animated type scene. So that's my arbitrary selection of a song that's definitely not my favorite, but this is a hard question, and thank you for writing.
Yeah, it is tough, but music is so important in pretty much everything. So it's amazing how music is used in just about every form of media. I mean, even
it's
like
so important.
Even where's my fucking? I took it off for now. Even like the NBA, like every sports league has like 5 or 6 theme songs depending on like what time of day it's being played. And speaking of which, the basketball game doesn't start until 6, where the Heat will probably lose by 30. All right, well, we'd like to get to our review.
Yep.
We have a review of Handyman Saitou in Another World, otherwise known as Ben the Saito-san Isekai ni Iku, which is really easy to translate. I mean, it really does mean Handyman Saitou, to another world, essentially. Yep. is really what that means. I passed it in episode 663. It's a winter 2023 anime. I watched it on Crunchyroll, and I watched it dubbed. I thought it was, I'm cutting now, which is great. It's more effort, but my body also feels half broken because I weigh 206 pounds. And, but I'm on the treadmill a lot, walking uphill. So I have a lot of time to watch anime. This is literally how I watched all of Slam Dunk. So I was on a treadmill. And so watching it dubbed is great because there's nothing worse than trying to read small subtitles when you're like fucking bouncing up and down. It's just not good. But despite being a handyman with a wide range of skills, Saitou is severely undervalued and underpaid. When he complains, his boss fires him, claiming that he is easily replaceable. It's probably true. As if his luck was not bad enough, a truck suddenly hits and kills Saitou on his way home. Typical. Surprisingly enough, Saitou does not die. Instead, he is transported to another world where he meets a party composed of a female knight, Raelza, as I think they call her in the English, and the moonlight fairy La Fanpan, which is a great name, and the mage Morlock, who are all coincidentally looking to recruit a new member with a set of skills like Saito's. Done by director Toshiyuki Koboka. That's a fucking weird name. Weird. Like, that name sounds fake. Studio C2C, which was not in our list, I don't think.
No,
But
they're pretty new around here.
there's also like a gajillion studios, so you can't do them all. Based on a manga. Really? Is it really a novel? It's not a light novel?
Yeah, it's a manga, which is interesting.
Okay. It seemed like one of those like short little 4 comas, or one of those short little, because the show's broken into little like vignettes the way that like Azumanga is. Anyway, so Mason, what were your expectations?
Yeah, so I didn't really have any expectations early on. I remember you saying pretty early that the show didn't have much of a plot. I was kind of expecting another aimless isekai, but then again, it's based on a manga, not a light novel, and it's done by the same studio who did Reincarnated as a Sword. So that was the isekai that I was like, it's an isekai, I'm not going to like it. And I came in and I was like, okay, this is not too shabby. So I was kind of mixed. I didn't know what I was going to expect. So I was very neutral coming in.
For me, I had seen maybe 4 episodes of it because I was having a hard time making a decision. When that happens, I normally watch more of the ones I'm picking between. And I really thought the characters in this were solid. I'm not at the spoiler free yet. I don't know. It was an isekai that clearly focused more on the characters than on like magic systems or levels, or most of the isekais, they're all about like ecchi, and here's my magic system, and and here's my level, and here are my like OP skills, which is really not what this anime is like, and you can tell that pretty quickly. And so I expected it to be isekai, but a little different, like to bring something a little lighter to the table. But I mean, when you've seen a third of it before you do the binge, I guess you pretty much get a pretty good sense of what it's all about. But would you recommend it, Mason?
So I think if you already enjoy isekais, yes, I would recommend this as a fun sort of isekai oji-san, Konosuba-esque comedy romp. If you are in the mood for something relaxed, very comical as a group of adventurers go around with a bit of heart and just kind of bounce around in the world, I think the show is for you. There was quite a few elements I personally was let down by. Some of the character writing, the attempted dramatic moments, just a lot of things that were a hurdle to my enjoyment. I think the show started off very well, and faded. I could see other people saying, it started off really slow and got better as it went on. At the end of the day, it didn't blow me away. I do think it does enough to distinguish itself from the rest of the isekai slop we're often fed season in and season out.
Damn.
So
Let
I
him
think
know.
the show is certainly one of the stronger installments in isekai genre in modern days. It's kind of a nice, comfy, fun show. I just don't think I could personally recommend it. I think I'll get into a lot of the things that irked me the more I watched it. And if you asked me at the end of season or episode 3 or 4, would I recommend it? I'd say absolutely. At the end of episode 12, not so much.
All right. Well, for me, I enjoyed this anime, but I think it's meant for the right person. And I'm not 100% certain that the right person is very common for this one. I think mostly because it's just pretty silly, really. And not everybody's is down for like really silly content. I mean, it has some sophomore humor to it too, which I like, but seems less popular as time goes on. I don't know. Like I will laugh every time a guy gets his penis chopped off and complains about it. I'm gonna laugh. I don't care how much time passes. It happened in Bastard, and it happened in this anime, and I thought it was fucking hilarious both times. So I guess I'm just like a 14-year-old boy, but I mean, honestly, not everyone's going to think that's as funny as I do. But I do think the characters in this are solid, and frankly, it's a lot of fun, and there weren't really too many like boring sections of it. It just seems a little disjointed. It doesn't have a particularly strong narrative. So if you were an anime fan that needed recommendations, I'm going to make an assumption that you haven't seen much. And by that I mean like a lot less than Mason and I have seen. As I climb through the 700s on Mal, And if that's the case, you probably have a lot of isekai you haven't seen. And in that case, there are better isekai to recommend than this one. So I would say that I probably wouldn't find myself recommending this because I would definitely recommend Jobless Reincarnation or ReZero or 12 Kingdoms. Like, there's a lot of isekai that are better, but this one is not bad. If you just want if you want a more modern, silly comedy isekai, that doesn't suffer from the same problems that other isekais do necessarily, this one might be recommendable, but it's it's gonna have to be the right person, honestly. Would you like to get the spoilers?
I sure would.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god.
All right. What was your favorite section of this anime? Because there's definitely at least six segments.
First 3 episodes. Absolutely.
So
the way
the introduction,
yeah,
basically.
The way this started with like a very sketch vignette, as you said, inspired 3 episodes. It's not something I would want for every show. It's kind of messy. It's kind of, you're kind of thrown in, and there's no through plot line, which I get a lot of people bounced off with. I thought it worked really well to introduce and kind of endear the cast. Every scene felt purposeful. It had an endpoint it was working towards, and I thought it was funny. A lot of these first 3 episodes, every little mini scene ended with like, yeah, haha, a little knowledgeable chuckle. I'm like, okay, that was pretty good. It broke up the typical pacing and story that you typically see in these kind of shows. It just felt fresh and it felt funny, and I was on board. I was like, yep, I like the show. It's pretty good. Way better than I expected. And then it starts to try to guide itself into a more dramatic thing, with kind of episodes 4 through 8 consisting of exploring this great labyrinth. Episodes like 9 through 10 or whatever, they're chasing down this eaten dong from a wolf that eats the magician's penis. Like, they go into
fucking
these
hilarious, bro.
Mini arcs. Like, it's a fun concept, but I think I just don't care. I was so bored by all these attempted bigger fight sequences and these big moments because I didn't care. Because I think the reason for it is a lot of times a show can either do one of 2 things. It puts you in the perspective of characters, and that's like what of drama shows or plot shows do. Like, think of Attack on Titan. It puts you in the shoes of the characters. It wants you to feel scared or uneasy when the Titans or a threat appears. It makes you curious about the answers in the basement. You feel that adrenaline when the characters are zipping around on their combat gear. Like, you feel like, oh, I'm right there with them. I feel what they do. Comedies, for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part in anime, kind of separate you from the character. It lets these scenes that are like frustrating or embarrassing or painful to be funny, because you're like, haha, that funny thing is happening to that character and not to me. I'm just watching, and that's what like separates you. So when the show goes with that comedy approach and it's like, haha, the slime is falling on the character and all her clothes are going away, like, that's embarrassing, but it's funny because you're watching it. But then when they try to force that drama in and we have this long fight and they're trying to give all these backstories about these assassins and witches and fairies and demon dogs, like, I just don't care. It was so boring and the fights went on so long. And the fact that no one had, like, everyone got off scot-free. There was no punishment. No one ever got injured. No one ever got
Well,
like, there was,
yeah.
I get that it's comfy and whatever, that no one's ever in danger, but there were so many nick of time rescues. Every time something was even a little bit in danger, the show like Deus Ex Machina'd it away. It was just so drab for me, and that is like the crux of why I disliked the second half of the show. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like I liked most of the sections of this show. I feel like the show tried to do a lot in 12 episodes. It goes from, dungeon crawling with Morlock and pals to dying witch lady who has another party that's trying to save her, and then they end up fighting the other party. And then there's like this big thing with all this like time magic. Then they explain how Saitou got to the world. There's a whole section about Morlock's backstory. Then they get out of there, and then they have the whole section about like Morlock's penis and getting eaten and stuff. And then there's an interrupted confession of love, and then there's a whole like battle scene where Morlock turns into a dog. And then you're back to like the city again, and then it tries to do a lot in 12 episodes.
Yeah,
and
to
honestly,
be fair, I'm like, oh yeah, the comedy was the best part of the first 3 episodes. But then if that was just the entire show, that would have been rote and boring and dull. Like, I get that you need to change things up and mix it up. No complaints with their ambitions here. I just think I never really cared about the characters that much because there was never any danger for them. There wasn't really ever growth to them. It was just very static, and it tried to shoehorn in so many side characters that were just not doing a lot.
Overall, I mean, I think this is really a character-driven show, and Morlock I loved. I thought he was really funny. I thought he was very interesting. He's like... there aren't too many characters where, like, the main powerful person in the party is so old that he can't remember his spells, so he has to have Saitou, like, help him.
It was a little...
It's cute.
Overdone. I think the 2 strongest characters, like, for the show easily were Morlock and Saitou. I think Morlock is interesting and engaging. His backstory, well, once again, he gets off scot-free. He commits all these terrible things, and he's like, just make me forget, and that will solve my problems. And that's the answer. Is a little weak. His constant, I forgot joke for his assistant and the spells, sure, whatever. Having your memories erased, haha, comedy. I think Saitou is really good because him being a handyman is a pretty minuscule part of the show. It's not all of him picking locks and stuff. Like, it's really that he puts an effort. Like, he's a valuable teammate, not because he has all this skill set, but because he tries, he pays attention, and kind of his journey of having these insecurities and feeling of just being average, especially when he's surrounded by talented people, is grounded, it's touching, and it's kind of a reminder to the viewer, like, hey, like, you don't need a wish fulfillment fantasy of being overpowered in another world. You can just have support and be a pillar of support for your friends and peers, and that's what makes you feel rewarded, not massive levels or power-ups. It's a community. Like, that's really nice. And I like the group as a collective. I think they all bounce off each other well, they have good banter, but individually they kind of suck. Like, Raelza is abysmal. Like, she's notably one of the weakest characters I've seen. Like, her existence is just fawning over Saitou and being given to him
pretty much
by her father. Like, it's like the writer wrote her, like, she blushed and replied boobily, breasting off hordes of dripping tentacle monsters as she curvaceously lusted for romance. Like, it's so sexualized and shallow. It's
hey girl,
I don't like how she was written. Not even like in a woke SJW way of like, give the women power. I think they tried that by saying, oh, she has a big sword. Isn't that subversive? Sure, maybe a little bit, but there's just nothing to... I dislike how she was portrayed so much. It was so... They could have done so much more.
Well, I was kind of...
She was raised by wolves, and she's cute.
I was a sucker for her scene when, like, they're talking about sending Saitou home, and he's like, I just want to stay wherever I'm needed the most, because that's the whole point of this anime, is, like, some guy who never felt like he was needed in the world suddenly goes to a place where he's needed a lot. And
he's wanted, and yeah.
And she's like, I need you more than anybody. And I was like, oh, it's such a nice moment. And
yeah, not a bad confession at all. I will give her and the writers that. But what was her purpose for anything else?
Actually, I think it's a bullshit confession. It got interrupted, and then interrupted again, and then interrupted a third time later in the show. And frankly, I knocked this show down a little bit because I was just annoyed that they spent so much time on, like, Raelza and Saitou maybe getting together, and then it never happens. You have to just assume it's going to happen. But I'm like, fuck that. Like, you had 4 opportunities. You gave me the bullshit, like, Love Hina, girl falls through the ceiling interruption nonsense. Except in this anime, it's more like, random demon pops out of nowhere. And so I was like, that's annoying. You wasted time on this, and then, I wanted it, then you never gave it to me.
Oh, there's so much wasted time, too. Like, the beginning of episode 11, like, recounts the last part of the fight, especially with a bogus, like, backstory for the demons that I didn't care about. So, like, that was 6 minutes right there of just repeated content. Or the last episode, episode 12, got to the end, and they're like, oh, shoot, we still got 4 minutes. Let's just do an extended dance sequence credit scene. Like, this show wasted plenty of time when it could have done other stuff. So, don't tell me there wasn't time for it.
Well, and you're right about the demons. Like, I mean, most characters got a backstory of some kind, which is, fine, but, like, the demons get murked, and it's not like they're not a character you can give a lot of empathy to, really, and so you really kind of wonder, like, what was the point? Like, if the backstory had been impactful, maybe you would have cared about what happened to those characters, but since I didn't, it's pretty obvious that backstory was a failure. But I didn't hate the backstory. I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was meaningless, but cool. I mean,
exactly, and that's how I felt about the assassin and the witch. That whole side story it slogged on too long, and the fights themselves, I thought the show visually was quite solid. Like, sure, they really tried to stay on model, which made some things stiff, but the blood splatter, some of the fire effects were really good. Like, this show looked solid, but they spent so much time just on, more like, we'll shoot fire at the demon, and they'll be like, oh, okay, the demon's dead, and then he'll jump back, and he'll shoot ice later, and be like, he absolutely can't survive
3
from
of
this.
my arms, 2 of my fangs.
Oh, I forgot the rest. Okay, buddy, we got it. Like, just, these fights went on
but his penis.
longer than they wanted. But his penis, okay, that would have been, so he puts the cup, the magic expanding cup on his penis, right? That's funny. And then it grows and, like, busts through the wall. They didn't show the wall breaking or busting loose. They just did a really cheap animation screen shake to make you feel the explosion, and it was already broken through. Like, if they just put a little more effort, that would have been a phenomenal scene.
But it was half a Madaraka.
It was a bit more than that after he put that cup on it.
And by the way, look, if a Madaraka is 12 inches, then half a Madaraka is 6 inches. There are definitely dudes in the U.S. that would be happy with a 6-inch penis. So I'm not sure, was the joke that it was big or small, or that it was any length at all? I'm not really sure, but Rails had definitely said half a Madaraka at least 8 times. Well, she thought about his penis, I guess. And I mean, I guess one thing I did like about this anime, as far as, like, the relationships went, is that they were direct about things and didn't just fuck around with it. They didn't get to the finish line, like I said, but, like, it was pretty quickly, like, I need you, you need me. It's unspoken but understood. You can have my daughter. You're gonna be a great son-in-law. Like, they don't fuck around with it. Like, they just go for it. And it does feel a little rushed because the show's not that long. But there's probably an understanding that they've been in their party for quite some time now. I don't know. It was different vignette by vignette. I liked episode. To me, the high points were episode 8 and 9. I really liked those 2 episodes. And
to me, those were, like, the start of where things just started taking too much time, and it was time that was taken away from the stuff that I wanted to see.
Come on, but it's half a Madaraka.
Was that 8 and 9?
That was episode 8. Episode 8 was where Morlock dies and then gets brought back, and yeah. Yeah.
It just, the second he died, of course I'm like, okay, he definitely didn't die. There's no way the show would do anything to disrupt the status quo.
This anime takes the normal, overpowered main character and all the power levels and all that shit and trades it for a more balanced character anime, and, like, between the one who gets nothing is the fairy. I mean, she gets. Oh, by the way, let me finish my thought. So it trades all that stuff that you normally get for comedy that is probably better than most. I mean, for me, at least,
I would say
it was
it's
fine.
solid. It landed most of the time when it needed to.
And it trades all that stuff for the comedy and some more likable, fun characters. So it's a pretty lighthearted show, you know. So basically, that's all you need to really know when you're a viewer. Like, you're trading the overpowered asshole and levels of Black Summoner for nicer characters that are a little lighter, and you know.
Which
Now,
I'm all for.
I did think to myself that when LaFonpon became human size, which was weird for like half an episode, and Railza and Saito had already had like their moment. And as soon as LaFonpon became human size, I thought to myself, because she is way the fuck better looking than Railza. And I was like, this is game over, bro, because she is at least twice as cute as Railza. And Railza's not bad, but come on. She's a fucking fairy. Like, that's now human size. She's I don't know, she checks all the boxes pretty much, but then she goes back to being tiny again. So she goes back to being a Madaraka.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I've seen better shows, obviously, but I do get uplifted by anime when it lands its comedy, because so many times it fails.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's all relative, obviously, but or subjective, I should say. But I do think it had stronger characters as a unit, which led to stronger comedy overall compared to a lot of its kin. And I would say it's probably most similar in a lot of ways to Konosuba, where, you know, a person gets isekai, maybe doesn't have the strongest power, but just has a really dynamic and fun relationship. Not relationship, but interactions with his party. And I would put it in a similar camp, just a little more straight-laced than that one. But it just grew a little tiring in a lot of scenes for me, and I didn't want all that stupid drama getting in the way of just stuff I didn't care about. So I don't know. I think there isn't much more to say on my end.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get a second season. I mean, it could,
no,
but
it was pretty. Need it.
It wrapped up pretty well.
Yeah.
I liked this anime. I wish the romance had come full circle. Even just like a handhold down the stairs would have been good, but instead the fucking dwarf guy comes in and ruins it again. But I was pretty consistently entertained. I'm not sure if it was because I watched most of this at the gym, and so I was all like high energy the whole time. But I definitely enjoyed it. It wasn't hard to watch. It went quick. I liked pretty much all the characters in it. I don't know. It was pretty good. I think I would probably give it, I don't know, 3.5. Fucking, I don't know. 3.5 spells forgotten by Morlock out of 5, even though it's always the
that
same.
Was mine.
You're big trouble now.
Oh my goodness. I gotta panic. I gotta think of something. I think I've already said it. The show started off strong, and I liked the first couple episodes, but then it swerved to be a little more dramatic and meaningful, and I just got thrown off hard, and I never really got back on. Yeah, it was a fine show. If you ask me in 8 months what I thought of it, I'll be like, I kind of forgot most of it, but it was all right. So I'm gonna give it 2.5. Put my penis in a cup, call it a big gulp out of 5. There is a.
Oh my god,
fine
bro.
Show.
Yeah, when they said the dog was the ate part of him, I never thought it would be his penis they were talking about. I was like, oh, it just didn't occur to me. Like, that's not where I go right away with my thinking.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, the show went there. They were just like, fuck it, full send.
It was bold. I liked the commitment. It was a recurring theme that worked well, surprisingly.
Well, that comes out to a 3, which feels pretty good for this show. I think it's a little above average, honestly. And that's about where a 6 puts you. So, and I don't know if there's any bets going on the Discord about this one, but I doubt it. It's not that high profile, but
yeah. But I think it'll scratch an itch. It'll be a comfy show for people who like it, and if not, it'll get forgotten in the sands of times. But hey, I don't I'm not upset that you passed the show. I think it
probably
was
already-
a solid selection.
It's probably already forgotten in the sands of time. Anime's so minute to minute, you know.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, next week we have a very interesting episode for you guys. So, first of all, everybody will be here, I think.
Yeah.
And by popular demand, we will be doing a round of Family Feud, the hosts versus the Discord. So we won last time. The question is, can we win again? And I gotta get our survey a little better circulated because it doesn't have enough questions yet to actually have to play a Family Feud game. And Andrew, aka Frigimon Fanatic, will be hosting again. And we already have our members from the Discord selected, which is another reason why you should join the Discord. I mean, you could do fun shit like that. And we're going to be reviewing Trigun Stampede, which, I better start that now. Honestly, it's going to be painful. The CG. WaifuWar.net, people. I mean, I would just check it once a week and make sure you vote every week. You know, because you want to be able to weigh in for your waifus, you know, and don't forget to check your brackets. You can also get to the bracket from waifuwar.net. There's a link, and it takes you to the site where the brackets are, and you can see how your ranking is on the contest. You know, that's about it. Follow us on social media. We'll see you on the Discord. And until next week, have fun watching your anime. Bye-bye.
Bye.